Okay, so the next sort of section of part 2 of Atonement continues with Robbie, joining or being a part of that British retreat to Dunkirk. Remember, something that really happened during the war. On this section, I think one bit that's worth looking at is right at the bottom of page 235, when we're told that nightmares had become a science. So there's that idea again of these horrific images, but treated as though they're every day. When you compare that to part 1 and Bryony almost seeing Robbie as this maniac, this nightmare figure, now that horror has become everyday, it's become commonplace, it's become a leg up a tree that he doesn't even really register. We get that idea of the horror sort of continuing on page 236. From about halfway down onwards, basically there's this horrible image where we get a child wriggling towards his mother as there's this screech of a falling bomb. And they almost get hit on page 236. So again, we're juxtaposing, contrasting childhood with these extreme horrors. And that becomes a really key moment then over page 237 and 238 as Robbie tries to save them. He tries to save this mother and very young child. When we get over to page 238, basically that they won't go with Robbie, they won't run away, so he has to leave them behind. And we're told about a third of the way down, where the woman and her son had been was a crater. So again, quite literally, childhood is vaporised, it is destroyed. Just like with the leg in the tree, it's blown apart. These images of children are destroyed. It goes on, even as he saw it, he thought he had always known. That was why he had to leave them. His business was to survive, though he had forgotten why. He kept on towards the woods. McEwan again using those very short, very matter-of-fact, very simple sentences alongside this absolute horror to show again Robbie has almost seen this as commonplace now. All that innocence from part 1 has gone, and this is just about survival amidst these horrors. When we get on to page 239, he's joined by Nettle and Mace. About 3/4 of the way down, we're told that Nettle joined them. He had a bottle of wine and an ammo bar, which they passed around. So there's that nice little hint to Paul Marshall again. Remember, he's the guy behind these ammo bars. And we see, after this extreme horror, we see that they've got these bars, therefore Paul Marshall is getting rich. Yet again, there's a reminder that he's getting rich off the back of the suffering of other people. As it goes on, a few lines after that, we're told the peasant and his collie were back behind the plough. Now remember, when ammo was talked about before, there was that little joke where somebody came out with the idea that it was ploughshares into tin foil, a biblical reference. Okay, so the original reference is swords into ploughshares. In the Bible it says make your swords into ploughshares. In other words, make instruments of war into something, ploughshares that you can eat from. Okay, you can plough fields and gain sustenance from it. The joke on Paul Marshall is someone says it's ploughshares into tin foil. In other words, taking useful things and making it into something sort of cheap almost. So here we get a reference to the plough. That reminder again that Paul Marshall is doing the opposite almost of that biblical proverb. He's not making something good from something bad. He's actually getting really rich out of the war. The very, very bottom line of page 239, mother and child have been vaporised. Again, I think that is symbolic to exactly what's happening in this part. Contextually because of the war, but also symbolically because of what it's done to Robbie. We're told about halfway down page 241, Robbie starts thinking of his father, thinking of his family and his own childhood. We're told that there was a memory that he could not place of being carried on his father's shoulders up a hill towards a great attraction, towards the source of a huge excitement. He would like those shoulders now. His missing father had left few memories. So Robbie has, lost this father figure basically. Jack Tallis took him on and then betrayed him, and his own missing father is hanging on over him. And again, I think we get the idea that fractured parental relationships are behind this. Okay, part of the reason that that Robbie has lost his innocence as well as the war is the fact that he's got this absent father figure. Bryony's been let down by her parents, and so has Robbie. We're told that in the last little bit of page 241, he'd imagined basically that he only had the distant help of Jack Tallis. Now he understood how conceited a delusion this was, rootless, therefore futile. He wanted a father, and for the same reason he wanted to be a father. It was common enough to see so much death and want a child, common, therefore human. So at this moment of the extreme horror, Robbie is longing both for his own childhood and his own father, and also to be a father and be surrounded by children. So yet again, we're seeing that childhood is destroyed at the war, but it's also a method of redemption. Just like in hard times, Greg Wright's children have their childhood sort of destroyed, but then Sissy, as this healing presence, is someone who actually redeems them and makes things better and improves things. And there we've got it again, okay? And that idea that it's common, therefore human. At these times of horror, they go back to their sort of natural human instincts. About a quarter of the way down page 242, we're told he would track down his father or his dead father's story. Either way, he would become his father's son. There's a bit of irony there because Robbie obviously ends up dying and Robbie ends up literally vanishing and disappearing. So there's that real irony that when we know where the story's going, that Robbie does become his father's son. But I think more widely, again, there's that idea that children are the products of their parents. What happens to the children is a result of the parents. Brian E is a result of Emily Tallis. On page 243, we get a really bizarre image about a third of the way down. A soldier with chrome cheeks pushed past Turner with a box of pink and white marshmallows. So yet again, at this time of total horror, we get this almost ridiculous image of childhood. We get one in a few pages' time of ice cream as well. So again, we're juxtaposing this extreme horror with childhood because Robbie is contemplating his own childhood. He's wanting to return to that childhood innocence because the horror is so extreme. And the two are juxtaposed throughout this little section because McEwan's sort of hinting that that's what's destroyed, but also that's what can redeem people if they can get back to it. Okay, and that's the basis, I think, of this section of Atonement.